Hey up YouTube. So in this video today I want to talk to you about what I do to try and avoid time wasting customers. I was listening on YouTube, Reese was mentioning it in one of his videos about people, just customers that they just want free advice, and I think we all get it. And I'll tell you what I do to sort of avoid that, and also as mention of, and it happens all the time at this year, where customers are, they use us just as, you know, a get around basically sometimes. And what I mean by that is they'll either leave their lawn to grow out because, you know, it's at the back of the mind, or they can't keep on top of it because of the weather, whatever, and they'll basically get us in, and they'll get us in to do it. And then when it comes to, you know, they don't mind paying for it, but they will get us in and they'll say, yeah, could you come and do it, but I want to do it regular. And it's almost a golden promise, and then they'll never have it as a regular, they'll just have it as a one-off. Now, I'm not saying all customers are cheeky like that, where they'll use a tradesman for free advice, or they will deliberately, you know, get it where they're saying about, oh, you know, we want a, you know, a regular cut, and then they've got no intention to honour it. But I know for definite, you know, as blue as the sky is, I can say to you 100% that every gardener has got their own story or version of that, where a customer has, you know, used them just to get free advice. And I've had it where you're there talking and they're asking you a million questions. What weed's this? How do we get rid of it? Where do we get the stuff to get rid of it? Can you recommend a knapsack? How much chemical to put in a knapsack? You know, it's stuff like, literally stuff like that. And then obviously it's not as direct as route as that, but obviously, you know, 20-30 minute conversation they can have, they could get all the information, and suddenly, you know, they could think to themselves, well, they can do it yourself. And sometimes you might give too much information, and make it sound, you know, customer might have a tricky job, and then you could come in and say, oh yeah, that's no problem at all, we can get that sorted for, oh wow, we thought it was a bit of it, oh no, just pull it off at the root, and just cut it off at the root and get something behind it, and hopefully the whole thing will come off in one piece. Oh, okay then. Yeah, just text the price across for me. So, as I said, sometimes it's me, sometimes it's them, but we've all got bloody stories of that. What I tend to do, quoting, is keep it very, very, very simple. Yes, I can do the job, that's no problem. If it is that I have to use stuff that they need to know about, so if a customer says, oh, I want my patio cleaning, no problem. Yep, no problem, I'll power wash it. I'll need the water, whatever. You know, anything that causes, anything that they need to know about, I tell them. But in general, I try and keep it as, not as vague as possible, to where it makes me look like I don't know what I'm on about. But I do try and keep it as vague as possible to avoid that sort of situation happening in the future. So keep it very vague if you can. And there's no harm in it, as I said. It's a fine line. You don't want to say, yeah, I can do that, £35, no problem. But actually sometimes people might like hearing that. They might not want the flim flam, the conversation. So I do think trying to keep it as simple as possible. If they start asking technical questions, so I've got this weed, it just keeps coming. It looks almost prehistoric, and it's got a very fine green, you know, like straw-like body, and it keeps coming. We just can't get rid of it. Mare's tail. Yep, that's no problem. Well, what I've do, I've got something to treat that. Oh, okay, that's brilliant. Well, what is it? Well, it's a professional grade level of weed killer. I've got my PA1 and PA6, which allows me to buy it over the counter and also apply it. Oh, okay, and if it is that they ask what it is, well, in all fairness, you could tell them exactly what it is and they could buy it online. Or what happens if you get the name wrong, or you don't know? Oh, I can't remember just offhand, but I have got a bottle of it in the lockup, so I'll be able to come and apply it for you. You will see results within a week to 2 weeks. As I said, now obviously if you're doing weed killing, ideally you should be leaving a technical sheet behind explaining to the customer. This is what they told me on the PA1, PA6 course, on exactly what you've applied, the dose rate, the reason. Basically, it's a receipt of putting weed killer down on property. Obviously, that's what you need to be doing. But it's the same with anything other, anything technical, you know, anything with... Now, I don't do much landscaping. I don't. If it's that I need compost and stuff like that, I just tell them what the price is. I just say to them, look, I've got my own, I use my own compost, I buy it in, and I charge compost at £10 a bag. And it's a big bag, and I buy it from somewhere and I store it. I don't store a great deal, but I have enough. If a customer says, well, I can get it at £8 a bag, yep, that's no problem, just get me 6 bags please. Make sure they're 120 litre bags. Oh, well, do you not want, could you go pick them up? No, I only use from suppliers that I can get through, I can get to easily, or they're on my route. Otherwise, I'll have to charge for picking up and delivery. And it soon weirdos it out. I remember I had one customer, well, it was a potential one, I think it was either last year or the year before, and she wanted gravel putting down. Jesus Christ. And she must have gone and looked for some, and she says, yeah, I want golden gravel. I can't think what it was, but it was golden gravel, say. She says, yeah, I need some golden gravel. I've worked it out, I need 10 bags. And I can't think what it was, but she was like at £4.50 a bag. And I says, where I get it from, it's £5 a bag. She says, well, where I can get it from, it's only £4.50. Could you pick it up from there instead? I says, where is it? And she told me, it's like a 20-minute trip. I says, no. I says, I'll use the one that's closest to me. Yeah, well, it's going to say 10 bags at 50p, it's £5 it'll be saving me. I says, but I will be driving 45 minutes out of my way. I says, I'll have to pick it up, load it, I says, and then bring it to you. And they just don't understand it, some people, they really don't. So as I said, keep it as brief as you can with quotes. Now, I've seen where people have said about charging for quotes. I was talking to Reese about this. I think it's a good idea in principle, but in reality, I think it's one of them where it can lead for... I think it can definitely help to weed people out. I think it will weed out the bad ones potentially, where they'll be like, well, he wants £15 for a quote. No, it's all right. I'll tell you what, we'll have a look elsewhere for you, but thank you for, you know. But what happens if you get a bad customer and then you sit there listening to all the questions? Do you bill them before, you know, just after the quote's finished? And say, look, it's £15 charge now. If it is, you go ahead with a charge, I will knock the £15 off. And then you've got that argument. And what happens if it's genuinely a good customer that she just doesn't like the price, you know, or anything? It could be a potential minefield. So I do tend to avoid. I wouldn't do it myself, because I just think about of all the bad customers that I've had that have wasted me time. If I then say to them at the end, look, it's going to be 15, 20 quid, they'd go off like a bottle of piss. So that's how I avoid, you know, wasting. And I've had so many quotes where I have, and you just think it's that bad that for the first half of it you don't think they're doing it, and then by the end of it you're like, they're just wanting to know stuff here, and you're like, right, get the brakes on, get the reverse on, and bugger off harder. You know, you think to yourself, bloody hell, they've just, you know, they've literally had us over for the past, you know, however long, listening to. Anyway, it is what it is. It's just one of them, unfortunately. So another thing as well at this time of the year is people will be getting us in to do the first cut for them. As I said, some people, they will word it as yeah, I want it regular, you know, plenty, you know, all year round. And they just, after the first cut, you know that they're just going to get rid of you. And it's just one of them, it really is. But again, I have a couple of little things to do that get around it. So the first one is minimum charge, and then the second one is first cut price. Now, if I've not cut the lawn before and I go to it and you can just tell it's not been cut in ages, then I'll say to the customer, and I don't even tell them, I just say, yeah, that's no problem, it's going to be £45 for the first cut and then £25 every 2 weeks. If they ask why the first one's so much more, then I tell them, but in general I tend not to, because it's people, if I think sometimes too much information, it bombards them. I don't know why, it just bombards them. So if he says, yep, no problem, well, what I can do, first cut, well, probably gonna have to mow it twice, 3 times. I've really got to re-edge all the lawns because they've just grown over, and then there's the tidy up, and then there's the waste away, all that sort of stuff. It's just too much in my opinion for them. So again, it's not diddling them, you're telling them the price, and this is the thing. So just say, yep, no problem, first cut is going to be £45, second cut and every other cut after that will be £25 if it's kept in a fortnightly schedule. The one thing that I do is explain to him that the price, you know, the 25 is a price for a fortnightly cut. If it is that it changes and, you know, it ends up being you want it monthly or anything more than that, then I have to adjust the price accordingly. And that's it. I think that's all we need to know, that if the price, you know, the frequency changes, the price will change. So, and it's just one of them, and it is, like I said, it really does frustrate me. It really does frustrate me. But if you do that with the first cut price, then it doesn't bother me. If I'm correctly compensated, I don't give a shit if they cancel after the first one, even though they've told me that they're going to keep having me, because I've been compensated. What happens, what winds me up is when I compromise and I say, oh, you know, I just do a first cut for the same price as every other cut, thinking, oh, it's going to be regular. You know, whether they've tricked me or talked me into it, or I've just done it off my own back. And then if it is that they do that, it's me feeling salty, and it's not me blaming the customer, it's me blaming myself for me putting myself in that situation. So that's how I see it as well. So another one as well is minimum price. I've done a second video on this, but when we talk about minimum price, minimum charge, that can help as well to wheedle out this sort of things. You always have a couple of customers like this every year, or well, could be more, where they'll ring up and they'll say, oh, it's only a small lawn, it's only small, we just want you to, how much, could you come and just do it, it's only a small job. Yep, that's no problem, but I'd just let you know we do have a minimum call out or minimum charge. Oh, okay, minimum charge for me is what, 25, 35, 45. And it doesn't matter if it's 40, yeah, no problem, we can come out, we can look at it, but I'm just letting you aware, Mrs. Such and Such, that we do have a minimum charge, which is £45. Oh, okay. Yeah, well, come and see what you think anyway. Now, that's a mixed sort of, you know, title there, isn't it? Come and have a see what you think. Sometimes it's, yeah, you know, I'll be happy paying £45 for that, 25, 35. Sometimes it's, nah, he'll do it cheaper when he sees it. And again, it's a wasted trip. Some people just don't understand it. I've had it where I've gone and it's, you know, a little lawn, it's a little border, whatever, it's a little shrub, and yeah, that's no problem, I can get that sorted for you. It'll be £25, 35, 45, whatever. Oh, it's only a little lawn. It's only, we're not about the right property. It's only that shrub there. Yes, but 25 seems a lot. Well, I did explain to you over the telephone that we do have a minimum charge. Don't tell them why you have that. You don't need to. You can if you want. But again, that customer, if they're debating that already, they don't give a shit. Oh, well. And then it's a wasted trip. But what can you do? You know, maybe if a customer says, well, come and have a see what you think. Maybe that's your one where, you know, you should say, Luke, it is going to be £25. The least I can charge you for any job is £25. But then I think we shouldn't have to sort of, not baby people, but tell people like that. But it does. Another thing as well with a minimum charge is it's so important, because so I've had it before where I've compromised. I've done lawns, and I had it last year. A bloke down the road, sorry, a bloke opposite one of my customers, he had a tablecloth size lawn, and I said to him, Luke, no, I can do it for you, it'll be every fortnight. Oh yeah, it'll be £10. Okay. And he, from the very get-go, he was a nightmare. And my justification in my head was, well, I'm just over the road, you know, I'm just over the road, I can push my stuff over. But he was a nightmare from the day one. And I know if I said to him, look, I do have a minimum charge, it's going to be X amount, he probably won't accept it. But at the same time, I'd rather him not accept it than have 2 or 3 visits at £10, where each one of them is a ball ache, and you're trying to get blood out of a stone each and every time. So maybe it should have been used on that. You know, a thing as well, I hear so many people say it, and I'm guilty of it, is, oh, I've done it cheaper because I'm next to the customer, I'm over the road from the customer. And that's such a double-edged sword, because that neighbour might tell them, and then they might think, well, he's charging me 20 quid for a lawn, his lawn's the same, but he's doing it for 15. But well, that's not fair, I was with him first, I want the same price. People do talk, and then people get pissy over it. But what happens if you lose that customer? Say if they just pass away, you know, and then you've not got that customer, but you've got that millstone now of that bloke that you're charging him £10 for a lawn, but you haven't got the convenience of being able to park in the lady's drive over the road and go over and do it. You've lost that. And then suddenly, what do? Do you say to this bloke, well, I haven't got that customer in the area anymore, I'm going to have to put the price. He isn't going to accept it. He's not going to think, wow, I've had a good run, I've had a year of £10 cuts, £15 cuts, I'll pay 25 instead. Is he fuck? He's not going to see it your way at all. He's going to see it for what, you know, that he's having to pay more. So it's so thingy, it really is. And I have it as well, where I got stung once, where there was a lady, I did the hedge for one lady, not a problem, nice and straightforward job, and did the hedge for it, and then I had to go around the other side just to finish the tops off or something. So I went round, and the little old lady who lived there, she was like, oh, could you just do the shrub while you're here, please? I know you're doing next doors. You know, she actually said like, oh, Sheila won't mind. And basically, I think she was thinking it was going to go on Sheila's bill or whatever. And I'm not going to give a name, but say Sheila. And I says to her, I says, well, look, I'll have to charge for it. I says, I can't put it on, it's taking time out of my day. And it was only like 10 or 15 minutes, but I had the edge trimmers there, I had the rake. I could throw the clippings back over, so yeah, the clippings were going into Sheila's clip, but I was going to the tipworm, so it didn't matter. And I think I said to her, I said, Luke, I says, you know, while I'm here, I said, I'll just charge you, it'll be 15 quid, whatever, 20 quid. It was a token amount. Now, if you're going to do that, make it clear to the customer. Say to the customer, yep, as I'm here already, I will charge you a token amount because I'm here. I says, but if it is that you need any more work doing, I do have a minimum charge, or I'll give you a quote for it. That's what you should, and that's what I should. I didn't. I just said, yeah, no problem. I said, I can do it for you while I'm here. I says, it will be, you know, 15 quid, whatever, because I'm already here. Sheila was like, oh, well, it wasn't Sheila. She was next door. She was like, oh, yeah, brilliant. And then what ended up happening, a year went by, and then Sheila had passed away, And the neighbour rung me up and she says, "Oh, hello, it's such and such. You did Sheila's edge last year. Could you come back and do my shrub for me again, please?" I says, "Yeah." I says, "That's no problem." I said, "What I'll do," I says, "when I'm next up in your area," I said, "I'll drop by. I said, I'll just price it up for you." "Oh, well, and how much?" Well, it was £15. I said, "Yeah." I says, "But I haven't got," I said, "it was the price last year because I was there." I says, "I haven't got, obviously I don't go to Sheila anymore, so we haven't got the convenience of me being there already." I says, the new people who've moved in, they haven't asked me to do it, so I'm not there at your property. "Well, could you do it at the same price?" And, you know, you shoot yourself in the foot in a way, but as I said, always make it clear why you're doing it cheap, why it's a token amount, a basic. And I always say to them now, I just say, "Well, look, it's going to be this much, but it's because I'm here already, you know, whatever." Because if you don't, you're just shooting yourself in the foot all of the time. So that's how to get away from time wasting customers, and that's hopefully helps you with these pesky people who at the start of the season, they just want to use us to thrash the lawn down. But there's no harm with one-off cuts. It really isn't. I say to people, I say, is it a one-off cut or is it a regular cut? And you can see the cogs in their head going. Now, what I'm asking that is the price isn't going to alter. It's just going to be, I need to work out if it's a regular customer or a one-off. And if it is that they say a regular cut, well, to me, there's no such thing as a regular unless you've been gardening for them for months on end. Somebody could tell me, "Yeah, I want you regular." They aren't a regular customer until I've worked for them. Yes, I can leave space, but they're not a regular until I've worked for them, until I can think to myself, yes, this is a regular customer. So it could be months before it gets to that status. So everybody, until they've proven or until they've had you for a while, is a one-off customer. So that's how I look at it. So have a good day, guys. Keep on gardening.